Good evening, everyone. The Winnipeg Jets returned home looking to kick off this 5-game homestand, their longest homestand of the year, the most important homestand of the year. They wanted to get it off on the right foot, and they certainly did. A 6-2 win over the Detroit Red Wings this evening. I'm Sara Orlesky, happy to be joined by Mitchell Clinton as we take you into the room shortly to hear from Jets players. As always, you'll hear from head coach Rick Bowness, and we are expecting Blake Wheeler to potentially join us as well on this post-game show. Let's get right into it, though. So the Winnipeg Jets return home from a lackluster trip through California, going 1-2 on that road trip. A lot of attention being paid to the struggles that the team was having, most notably with their marquee players, the star players that you're expecting to score. They come into this game tonight. When you look at the response that they had, the goals that were scored, Kyle Connor, Blake Wheeler, Mark Scheifele, Dylan DeMello, Nino Niederreiter, Nikolai Ehlers. I mean, I guess that just says it all in terms of the response that we saw from them tonight.
Well, like I said, the last few weeks, there's been nothing to worry about. No, I honestly think Blake Wheeler, and I can't really speak for him, but I think after he scored on a beautiful pass from Nikolai Ehlers, when he kind of puts his head back, I think anyways, it's almost a bit of relief. It's just okay, we're going here. Yeah, there's the exhale. It's end of a shift too. He's been going. He had a fantastic game tonight. The whole team, right top to bottom, and that's kind of what it takes, especially at this time of the year. Yeah, Detroit's playing on the back half of a back-to-back, but the Winnipeg Jets had a job to do tonight, and everybody on every line and every position did that job tonight. Yeah,
and as I mentioned, that there was so much attention obviously being paid to the struggles to be able to find back the net. Rick Bowness altering his lines going into this game when you look most notably at the top six. In that respect, so there was a lot of attention paid. Pierre-Luc Dubois centering a top line with Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele for it. What did you think of the job that they did, and with Scheifele moving at times over to the wing?
Yeah, and I think it was a really good look for the Winnipeg Jets, primarily because it doesn't necessarily take Mark Scheifele out of the face-off dot. Now, he's probably going to get a text or two from Andrew Kopp of the Detroit Red Wings because Andrew Kopp won the first 2 draws against Mark Scheifele. But besides that, I thought the line was really good tonight. I mean, they were in on the first goal of the game, and that's always huge. They were in on the third goal of the game. They were up and down the ice really good. And there's a number of situations where not only were they great in the offensive zone, but also in the defensive zone. A number of situations where you saw Kyle Connor on a back check breaking something up. Mark Scheifele doing the same thing. Head coach Rick Bowness has said, Pierre-Luc Dubois is really good in his own zone. He showed that once again tonight. Now, Pierre-Luc Dubois ends up with no points tonight, but he was real good in between Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor. Just a line that they wanted to go and take a look at, and it paid dividends tonight.
Yeah, one of only 4 forwards, actually, weirdly enough, that didn't have a point in this game here. So that was the top line, a lot of attention being paid to that. In the second line, you saw Nikolai Ehlers and Blake Wheeler flanking either side of Dubois.
Yeah, and, that was a trio, too, that they'd gone to a little bit earlier in the season. I was trying to remember just which road trip it was exactly, but as soon as you put Ehlers and Wheeler together, there's some chemistry between those two. And I thought, throughout the game too, just before that, this goal, I thought this was the Nemesnikov, the Wheeler goal from earlier, but Nemesnikov makes a real nice play in the neutral zone to kind of slip that in to be able to start that rush. And then, as you just saw, they were all over the net tonight. And Nemesnikov obviously not being able to convert on the breakaway chance, but they stayed with it. You saw them both he and Blake Wheeler stop at the net. They're able to make a play. Nikolai Ehlers puts it in the back of the net. Gives him 10 goals too. Let's not forget the amount of time that he missed this season. For him to get into double digits, it's a real good sign for the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as promised, we're joined by Blake Wheeler downstairs. Blake, thanks so much for taking the time to join us. When you look at the play of this group overall tonight, what is it that you appreciated most about the effort from this team?
Yeah, I think the schedule finally worked in our favor. We've played 1 game in 5 days and played a team that's on a back-to-back. So I think we saw our hockey team finally, have some rest and have some time to get our legs going. And it was obviously really important for us to jump on them in the first period. They played last night in Detroit.
I was going to say, it looked like all of you across the board had that jump. How different did your legs feel tonight out there?
Yeah, you could see it in even in warm-ups, I saw guys with a little bit of jump, a little bit of hop in their step. Saw a couple smiles. Those are typically indicators that guys are feeling pretty good. So certainly been a rough stretch for us, and it was nice to see guys, feeling good on the ice tonight.
A lot of attention paid to kind of yourself and players in that top 6 role in terms of scoring. For you to be able to get on the score sheet tonight, one of 6 to be able to do that, what's going through your mind as you score? I mean, we thought we looked like we saw you exhale. Is it a little bit of relief?
No, I was fairly certain that Nicky was offside, so I didn't really want to celebrate. I was kind of holding I wasn't exhaling. I was holding my breath. Like I said, we have an expectation, and guys are, especially in our top 6 and scoring roles, are looked upon to produce offensively, and more often than not, we get the job done. And it's been a little bit of a rough patch for us here recently, but it's kind of one of the great things about pro sports is you get to persevere through tough times and come out on the other side and be better off for it. So I'm really proud of everyone, how we're kind of sticking together, and you wouldn't know it, if you walked in our locker room, that it's been as rough as it's been, but we're feeling like if we can feel good about ourselves down the stretch, maybe we can make some noise.
And finally, so it wasn't offside. It was a heck of a pass from Ehlers over to you. Or what is it that can work well with you two on a line with Dubois?
Yeah, I think you meant Vladdy.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. But I've loved playing with Vladdy since he's come over. He's a really smart player. He's a guy that tries to play, two-man game, and I can really feel, what he's trying to do with his instincts and hockey sense. And Nicky and I have had a ton of success over the years playing together. He's so versatile. He's so dynamic. As I'm getting, in the later stages of my career, it's awesome to play with a guy who creates that much time and space. Because I still feel good with the puck when I get some time and space to make some plays. So reminds me a little bit of when me, Vladdy, and Stas played together me, Nicky, and Stas played together at the end of last year. Kind of has the same vibe, the same feel to it, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Well, you guys certainly had fans up on their feet tonight. Thanks so much for the time, Blake. Really appreciate it.
Yep, thanks. Have a good night.
You too. Nice to have Blake join us. Feels better when he said the Vladdy and Stas as well for it. Okay, let's head into the dressing room right now before we talk a little bit more about what Blake said, and let's hear from Mark Scheifele.
What did you guys do that worked so well tonight?
We had a good forecheck. I think that was the biggest thing. We made some plays. We held on the puck. Made them work in the D zone, and when we do that, we're a pretty hard team to play against.
What did you think of the new line and how well that worked?
I liked it. They're both fantastic players, and I really liked the look of it.
Does playing on the wing simplify the game in a manner that is beneficial to your play, even if it's just a temporary move?
It's different for sure. I've played center my whole life, so it's definitely an adjustment. But when you play with 2 good players like Doobie and KC, it makes it easy.
You talked the other night about the need to get going offensively. Mark, what does it mean to put one on the board and for a lot of your big guns to be all over the score sheet today?
Yeah, it was big. Obviously. We had to get them on him early, especially after being a back-to-back traveling from Detroit. So, it was a great start, and we're a tough team when we play like that. When we're on our toes and we make it hard to play against, and we play in the ozone, we're a tough team. So, that was a big one for us.
Up 3-zip after the first period. What was spoken about in the dressing room after that?
Keep doing what we're doing. You can't sit back. There's still lots of game. You can't just kill the clock. We got to keep playing. We got to keep making passes and plays, and I think that was the biggest thing. We just can't get away from our game at all. They especially after back-to-back. Usually the first period's the tough one, so we knew they were going to push, and just had to stay on our toes.
Rick said partially the move to wing was made in consultation with you. He talked about you got your opinion, said you were game to try it. How important is it to have that kind of dialogue?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously it's weird going to the wing, but like I said, to play with with Doobie and KC, that makes it easy, and we're all guys that play offense and read off each other really well, and I thought tonight showed.
You scooped up the souvenir. Who's getting that one?
For Shazi, for his 1,000th pro game, so that was for him.
Thank you.
So Mark Scheifele asked a lot of questions, understandably, about the switch over to the wing and how he was feeling about it. Your three best players in terms of offensive capabilities, though, on a line together, obviously delivering. We heard Blake talk about how the schedule, he felt, finally played in their favor, being able to have some jump in their legs again, a little bit of a break. How important is that going to be as you look at this stretch that they have coming up to end the regular season?
So I always say I'm not an athlete, at least clearly not to the level that we watch on a nightly basis here. But there's some games where, especially in situations where either I'm traveling or whatever it may be, some days I come to the rink and I'm just like, man, I hope they're feeling better than I am. So I always think, like, if that's how I'm feeling, and I'm not someone that's on the ice giving it 150% every single night, certainly that's going to catch up. And when you're playing every other day, or you got some back-to-backs in there as well, it's all going to add up. Like, it's not necessarily going to be the first 2 weeks of it. It's going to be week 3, 4, 5. And I think that's maybe like what Blake was alluding to. It kind of started to pile up. And now you look at the stretch, you're almost getting the reward for enduring that, because you got a couple of days between games between San Jose and here. You got a couple of days between some games, especially some real important ones later on in this homestand. And that's, if you're going to get some rest and some time to get some energy back in your legs, this would be the time of year that you want to get it. Clearly it paid off for the Winnipeg Jets tonight, and you as a Jets fan, you would want to hope that continues, especially given the fact they've got another couple of games here where they have a 2-day break.
Yeah, absolutely. The challenge is to duplicate it again with their next game on Sunday. Let's head back into the room now and hear from Nikolai Ehlers.
Nikolai, how did you find the offensive outburst today? What did you do well to make it happen?
Played fast, with and without the puck. Got down on their D and won some battles down there, and were able to get some zone time. I think we got away from that a little bit at times, and that showed. So, yeah.
What does an outburst like that do for a team that had been having trouble finding the back of the net with regularity?
Well, I hope it does a lot of good. I think we played well tonight, but we got 6 games to go, and every single one is a huge one. So we enjoy this one for tonight, and then we move on to the next one tomorrow.
Looked like on the power play, attacking kind of downhill from the point. There's so many passes in succession, no goal. But is that a place you're feeling more comfortable in?
I've played that spot for all the 8 years I've played here, so I'm pretty comfortable in that spot.
Were you feeling it tonight? I mean, I really do think there's a lot of quality of chances created there.
Oh, 100%. But that's hockey. Sometimes you feel it, sometimes you don't. And I think today we were able to find some pretty good looks, and we got to continue doing that.
I don't know if you make a big...
You can hear the rest of Nikolai Ehlers on the Winnipeg Jets website later on this evening, but let's head into the Matt Frost Media Center. It's time to hear from head coach Rick Bowness.
It's there. We haven't had those breaks in a long time, even the first goal, the tip. So we haven't had that luck around the net in a long time. It was good to see.
I mean, Mark scores, Kyle scores, Blake scores. Some guys that haven't scored in a little while, all of them on the board, and probably feeling pretty good about it. But how important is that?
Well, it is. I mean, moving forward here, we have to keep winning. We've got a very tough opponent coming in here on Sunday with the Devils coming in. So it's good to get those guys on the scoreboard. They've all had plenty of scoring opportunities over the last couple of weeks, and they just hasn't gone in. So, but we gotta keep doing those things we did tonight. Get around the net and get more like we did tonight. And you got to get some breaks, and we got them tonight.
I know the other night I was giving you grief about Ehlers' ice time, Wheeler's ice time. Put them together, and all of a sudden they're successful. So what did they do together and with Laddie too?
I was talking to Nick about that today. They like playing with Vladdy. Everybody likes playing with Vladdy because he's of his hockey IQ, right? He's smart, and they read off each other really well. That's the best Blake has skated in a while, so it was good to see, and I think he felt a lot better after that goal went in, gave him a little extra jump, get a weight off of all their shoulders, Mark and Casey, everybody. But everybody likes playing with Vladdy because he's so smart, and he's calm, and he skates so well. So, we had them together for a little bit in Carolina, and there's a little chemistry there, you see. So that's why we put them back together today.
It looked like you said Blake had some real jump as the game went on. He was taking guys wide and things like that. For me, that's 5 years ago, Blake. But I mean, is that a sign that at this time of year he can still do that?
Yeah, I mean, again, that's the best he's skated in a while. I think the goal certainly gave him a big boost. It gives, the guys were all very, very happy for him and gave the whole bench a boost. But he worked hard to get to the net, did some good things defensively as well, back checking, and so yeah, it was a very good effort by him.
Rick, did you perceive simplicity in Mark's game by him playing on the wing?
Well, again, you get three offensive guys together. They're going to read off each other. So you saw Mark take a lot of face-offs tonight, which we talked about this morning. That when he takes face-offs, Doobie's the right winger. When he, they've got their green light to use the whole ice. So he lines up sometimes as a right winger. He's in our zone more as a right winger. So it simplifies it a little bit for him. Yeah.
Now that we're 6 games left in the season, tonight's effort, how much does that resemble the template that you want to see from this club as you get this point?
Yeah, well, actually, we've played, tonight's obviously more of an example of how we want to play. We know they played last night and they came in a little tired, but that's more of an example. We've also played some pretty good games where we've lost here at home, right? So, and we played really well. We lost tonight, we played really well, we scored some goals, and that's really the biggest difference. So, that's how we want to play.
You mentioned the prior chemistry that you saw out of Ehlers, Wheeler, and Nemestikov, and again, it looked on full display tonight. Ehlers said he thought that there was a lot of chemistry there. When does it get to a point where if they keep looking like that, it gets hard to take that line apart?
As long as we see that, we won't. Simple.
Didn't you see that from them last time before you took them apart, though?
Yeah, but it was different in scenarios back then. It was just a short-term thing, and we had Mark at center. So putting Mark on the wing opens up that spot for Vladdy. We didn't have Mark on the wing before.
So I know that you'd said Mark will stay on the wing until he gets to a point where if he's not comfortable with it or doesn't like it, he'll go back to center. Is that typically the spot he'd go? Doesn't Nemestikov get bumped if that happens?
We'll see what happens. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Rick, what do you think of the way your defense played without Josh tonight, obviously, for being unavailable?
Yeah, there's a big hole back there. You notice how much you miss him when he's not there. But they give those guys credit. Mel had a great game. Neil Pionk, that's one of his best games. Dilly was really good. So was Sandberg. They all did their job tonight. So they all picked up. Like last game, Mo played 27 minutes in San Jose. So those guys picked up the minutes, and they all handled it very well.
Did you think that the Scheifele, Dubois, Connor line helped set the tone for your group in some ways?
Yeah, they did. They went and got that first goal. I mean, we haven't scored a lot of first goals lately, so that gave us a big boost. And they spent, before they even scored, they had some really good shifts in the offensive zone. That gave us a big lift. But finally getting that first goal again certainly helped us too.
Just what's Josh's status at this point, heading into tomorrow or Sunday?
Well, he's not. He's under the weather, so we'll probably keep him off the ice tomorrow, and he'll probably skate. We expect him to play Sunday. Thanks.
Thanks, Rick.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, we hadn't had the opportunity to mention that there had been a game time decision. We knew that from this morning regarding that blue line, but Josh Morrissey under the weather, so unable to go. So Logan Stanley drew into the lineup tonight. All right, quickly, as we wrap things up, we hear the words of Rick Bowness, things that he liked, some of the talk about, just even the versatility of Vlad and how he has been able to benefit this team since coming on board. The challenge, as we mentioned, though, is to duplicate it. Yeah. They needed to take advantage of a tired Detroit team that had won last night in that last second goal against Carolina for it. So can they do it again when New Jersey comes into town on Sunday? Let's take a look at what the next 4 games look like. It's actually the final 4 home games of the regular season for the Jets. And while we don't want to downplay Sunday because it's important, still obviously the 2 games that everyone is going to have their eyes on are going to be Calgary and Nashville, the 2 teams that are chasing Winnipeg in the standings.
Yeah, and the reason why you can't downplay the New Jersey Devil game is because depending on how that goes, it affects your position going into the game against Calgary, going into the game against Nashville, right? So And I think the Devils are going to be a really good test for the Winnipeg Jets, just with their speed and their finishing ability. So certainly a game that you're not going to want to miss on Sunday.
Let's take a look at what the standings are right now at this point. Now, we will say that the Calgary Flames, it's a quiet night in the NHL, only a few games on the schedule, including, though, the Flames, who find themselves at this point down 1-0 after 20 minutes to the
Vancouver
Canucks. So
yes.
We'll see how that one, but the important 4-point spread right now between the Jets and the Flames. So key that they got the win here, but obviously with these two teams having played the same number of games, they need to continue to build to hold on to that second wildcard spot.
100%. And you know you have the head-to-head matchups coming up against them, but at the same time, you want to be able to take care of your business and put pressure on them, because you just never know with how these things are. I mean, a couple of nights ago, it was Nashville beating Boston at home, so anything can happen. So as long as you take care of your business, if you're the Winnipeg Jets, you're going to be in a good spot.
For it, absolutely. All right, so mentioned the Winnipeg Jets, a big win to kick off the weekend, to kick off the homestand. You always know that a Friday night crowd, when they get to go home happy or continuing on their evening, however, some people do. Not us.
When I was younger, maybe, after the game, now it's straight home.
It's straight home. But 6-2 was the final here. Lots for fans here inside Canada Life Centre to cheer about. They will look to do it again, as mentioned, on Sunday. Of note, 6 p.m. start time for that game against the Devils. As always, appreciate having you up here with us. You will have a full post-game report as well available on the Jets website, so you don't want to miss out on that. And as mentioned earlier, you can catch all of the in-room interviews on Winnipeg Jets website, winnipegjets.com. All right, that is it for us. We're going to wrap things up, close out our Friday night. But thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you on Sunday.